Let's start with creating a new project. Click New in the menu, and click AUTOSAR Project. Enter the project name. After clicking Finish, we can see that a new project is created. For the next step, we will create a new ARXML file. Right-click the project, select New, then select AUTOSAR File. In this example, we will cancel auto-generating ART package. When creating an ARXML and ART package in the same time, you can activate to auto-generate the AR package and change its name in practice. After clicking Finish, you can see the ARXML is created. Next, I will show you how to create system element through System Designer. Right-click the project, select AUTOSAR System Designer. We can find System Designer on the right side of the tool. To create system element, we need to right-click the system in Config tree, then click Add System. Then we will see a dialog for selecting ART package. I create one with the name of system. Right-click the ARXML file, then click Add ART package. Here we enter System for the name, then click OK. We can see System ART package is created. Click the ART package, click OK, so we can find that element is created under the system. You can find details in the page when clicking it. We keep the name unchanged. In the category, we choose MachineDesign or Extract. In system version, we enter 1.0.0.011 for instance. Save the file, and we can find the ARXML file is updated. The next part is adding composition in system. We will design a simple sample of communication between proxy and skeleton. Regarding the composition, we will put PAA and RAA under the machine. We can get to the designing page for composition by clicking System Element, VFB, System in Order. Right-click the system, then select ART package. After selecting the System ART package, we can find that system composition is created. Next, we will add a new composition of machine and system. Right-click the system composition, then click Add Composition Software Component Type. We change the name of composition to machine. Next, I will add PA8 and RA8 compositions under machine. Right-click Machine Composition, then selected Composition Software Component Type. I will name the composition as PAA, and I create RA8 composition in the same process. Change the composition to RAA. So far, the whole composition designing is finished. In the next part, we will create ModeDeclaration. 3 function groups, which are machine state, process state, and drive state will be created. Machine state and process state can be created automatically. Right-click in the table, select Generate Machine State. This is the generated machine state. We can auto-create a new process state through the same process. So, this is the process state which is just generated. Next, we will create drive state. Right-click in the table, click Add ModeDeclaration group. Here we change ModeDeclaration group into drive state. We will add for modes, which are high speed, low speed, off, parking. Set the initial mode as off. Next, we will create certificates. Click in order of Secure Communication, Crypto Service, then Certificates. Right-click in the table, click Add Crypto Service Certificate. For the AR package, we choose System again. I changed the name of certificate to My Certificates. For algorithm, I choose RSA, and for format, I select X509. For maximum length, I am going to put a random value, like 512 for example. So the certificate designing is finished. And next, I will show designing SD server config and SD client config. I will start with SD server config. We can find it under service communication. We can create SD timing and SD event group timing in SD server config. Click SD timing. In the right table, click Add some IP SD server service instance config. Here, I leave the name unchanged. For time to life, enter OX6F and set offer cycle delay to 0.1. For both request response delay mean and request response delay max, enter 0.0. Open initial offer behavior. For both initial delay min value and initial delay max value, I enter 0.1. And for initial repetition base delay, I enter 0.1, and for initial repetition max, I enter 3. Creating SD event group timing will be the next part. Right-click in the table of timing configurations, click Add some IPSD server, event group, timing config. For request response delay mean, I set the value as 0.0 and same for max value. For next, I will design SD client config. Select SD client config to configure SD timing and SD event group timing, which are under SD server config. Right-click in the table of SD timing, click Add some IPSD client service instance config, just like what we did for configuring server. Set the value of time to live as 0x6f and extend the initial find behavior to enter different time value. Enter 0.1 for both initial delay min value and initial delay max value. The values for initial repetition-based delay is 0.1 and 3 for initial repetition max. SD event group timing is the next part to set. In the table, click Add some IPSD client event group timing config. Leave the name unchanged. Set the time to live to 0x6f. I enter 0.04, both request response delay mean and request response delay max. Next one is MachineDesign. Select Node in Topology to get to Machine. Right-click the machine, click Add MachineDesign. For access control, I select Modeled. In configuration part, we need to configure Ethernet, user-defined, or service discovery config first. But we have not created endpoint, so we will come back here after creating endpoint. Here I will create network endpoint EthernatCluster. Get to Ethernet. Right-click Cluster and select EthernatCluster. So after this, an Ethernet cluster is created. For protocol name, I enter Ethernet. I put IEEE 802.3 for protocol version. Next, I'm going to create network endpoint of physical channel. Right-click and select Add Physical Channel. We name it as Network Endpoint. Right-click Network Endpoint. Selected Network Endpoint. Here I additionally create two network endpoint. Add network endpoint address by selecting Add IPv4 configuration. IP address is 192.168.0.5. The source is fixed. For default gateway, enter 192.168.0.1. And for network mask, it is 255.255.255.0. We put 0 in TTL. We can configure a lot of things in DNS. Here I will add one for instance. DNS will be 192.168.0.1, which is same as gateway. So far, I finished setting one network endpoint. I will configure loopback. Right-click Network Endpoint, select Add IPv for configuration. IP address is 127.0.0.1, and for source, I select Fixed. I put 255.0.0.1 for network mask, and 0 for TTL. Then loopback setting is finished. For the last part, I will add SD multicast. Right-click and select Add IPv for configuration. IP address is 224.0.0.1, and I select Fix for source. After entering 0 for TTL, 3 networks are created. I will apply the created network endpoint. Go back to Machine Designer, get to Communication Connector Ethernet, add Communication Connector. To add endpoint and to loopbacks, I need to add the communication connectors. I change the first one's name to endpoint, select wired in category, and connect unicast network endpoint to it. Change the second one to localhost, which is also wired in category. Connect unicast network endpoint to loopback. I will configure Service Discovery config 2. Right-click and select Add Service Discover config. Select SD Multicast for multicast SD IP address and enter 30 for 90 for SD port number. Finally, I will apply MachineDesign and EthernatCluster to machine element. Go back to Machine. We can find 5x elements. Add MachineDesign, then click OK. Add machine as reference in EthernatCluster, then click OK. And lastly, we can see MachineDesign and EthernatCluster are added here.